I grew up fishing Silver Creek. I started coming back in my 20s. And since then, I've been at opening day for all but one of the last 23 years. It's a place for me to come and just feel like, oh good, everything's gonna be okay, because it's right here.
We live in glacier country. I mean, it was named for the fact that there are glaciers here and they're feeding our waterways. The reason it's the beautiful color it is because of that glacial silt that's coming from our beautiful alpine country. When I was my kid's age, I would play on the water, float and fish and hang out, and I always just wanted to be by the creeks and rivers and streams. And so every time I'm out there, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
It's really more about the exploring than it is the fishing. I often fish with a pair of binoculars on because there's always something to look at. When you're at a smaller creek and you're out there, you think, wow, I haven't seen anyone in like the last hour and a half. That's pretty cool.
Going into fatherhood, I thought I knew how awesome it was going to be, and I realized I had no idea. With Pippa, everything's an adventure.
What time is it, Pippa?
Fishing time.
It's really however she wants to enjoy it, because I'm going to have the time of my life no matter what.
I think it's kind of that exploration thing. Like, let's get into wild places and be together, and let's explore things that you wouldn't otherwise observe if you weren't going there with a fly rod. And she was cool for a couple of months, just like hanging there, watching the action, and then really quickly like wanted to fish with me. So we kind of graduated to, like, she'd hold the cork of the rod and we'd fish together, and she's pretty happy.
It is sort of sad to say that this doubles the last one in size, but we're going the right direction. All right, there he goes. The next one's gonna be 6 inches. People in the fly fishing world that would know me would know Hank Patterson, you know. I'm Hank Patterson, world-renowned fly fishing expert and guide. People will probably start watching this and be freaked out when it says Travis. So we went out and we shot this Hank Patterson video just to win $1,000 is all we were trying to do.
Oh, that was a good time. No, I'm just guiding a client. Yeah. Now we're on that crap stretch of water down from the big hole.
And the next morning I wake up and we've got like 30, 40,000 views of this video. What is going on? And so I call Reese. I'm like, hey man, we got all these views on the video. And he's like, no. Who would want to watch us? And I'm like, yeah, we do. So we made a few more Hank Patterson videos together.
Mama bear, she's got cubs, right? What do? Grab a cub. Grab a cub. That's the first thing.
So eventually he was unable to do that. He had cancer and passed away in April. And we talked a lot about creating memories at what was looking like the end of his life. And we were able to do that on the river.
Why I like fishing is because I like the thrill, bringing it up and just start stripping. And even if it's a small fish, it's hard to do. And so I just love that. And so, yeah. And I also just like love looking at them, and like, I can't quite identify them, but I like guessing what kinds they are. And I just love that.
To see the kids wanting to be on the water is great. If you ask them what they want to do, they'll say, let's go on the river. And to me, that's huge, because it doesn't really matter what they do out here. As long as they're out here, they're observing it, they're part of it, they're participating with it, and they're having a great time. And if that's how they start their fun hogging, that's great.
I really don't like to fish, like at all. But I do like to row because it's easy and I'm still doing my part. I just love when we're all together because we have our own thing that we like to do, yet we're all together doing it.
getting out with Pippa, my granddaughter now, in these high times of discovery is like really, really great. It's just places you go back to that really build in them a rich memory that I think they carry with them forever. When I think of the things that I can give Pippa, help her discover, they're the things I know. And one thing fishing has taught me is to be more observant. The fact is, it's changing. We're facing a situation where all the science says is our planet is getting warmer and warmer, and that's putting more and more demands on water.
It used to always be that you could just expect that we'd have a big runoff, but now it's so unpredictable. How many years in a row do we continue to say it's going to be a tough snow year, going to be a tough snow year? You know, the rain can't sustain your water for the entire summer. So more rivers get shut down during the summer because they're too hot for fish to thrive in. And then we've got big, massive fish kills like on the Yellowstone and everything shut down there. And now consistently we're getting so much algae floating in the water, and you know that that's taking up a lot of the oxygen in the water, and it's not great for fish. So it's like actual proof, things you can see. And you know, you're seeing these things, and then you wonder, well, that's just my observation. You know, the scientists know so much more than we do.
I think it's hard to be an angler and not see that and not get concerned about that, and want to take some action as an angler specifically, but beyond that too. I think it's the preeminent issue facing humanity in our century, and I think it's like the biggest thing that affects all life.
And so then kids start asking questions, and it's tough to be a mom and not have answers.
I really like fishing. The only thing that stinks is that sometimes we don't get to go out as much anymore.
I don't really know. I mean, I try to do my part, but it's just hard.
What's our responsibility? What do we have to do to protect this? People know, experts know.
You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be the scientist. You don't have to, you know, be the person that's coming up with the plan to save the world. I mean, again, I don't have the answers. But for me personally, what I've decided is I'm going to decide to listen to people that dedicate their lives to understanding science. But I think that the most important thing, if you know nothing about it, that you can do is simply be willing to learn and have a conversation and not be angry and not be like weird or unwilling to even listen.
Almost 100% of the world's scientists are saying that global climate change is real, and we did it.
The big facts are there. The big consequences are there, and the solutions to them are doing the right thing anyway. You know, using less energy, what's bad about that? It's just the right thing to do is to produce less waste, to be more efficient. We're talking about doing the right thing.
A few years ago, I brought my mom up here. She just sort of casually says, you know, it's neat because this was my father's favorite place to fish. And it sort of blew me away. I never knew my grandfather. He died before I was born. I'm fishing the same spots that he fished 80 years ago, and it's still here for me to do. It made me think, I really gotta start thinking about this. I can't be passive, I can't be apathetic about it, you know. I always want this to be here for my kids, and I want it to be there for Reese's kids.
It's been a lot of feet dragging, and we don't have time for that anymore. We're in control of what we get our politicians to care about. We're the constituents, and if you have enough people calling up or emailing or writing your elected leadership and saying, hey, I care about this. This makes a difference in my life. It's fundamental to my happiness, to my kids' happiness. If you get enough political will, I think things can change, and this really needs to change at a policy level We can move towards clean energy policy, we can move towards more efficient cars, we can move towards all of these tangible things and show leadership in this country and hopefully inspire leadership abroad. You know, one thing that inspires me is rivers that can come back to life, that nature, if we get out of its way, will heal itself. We screwed a lot of things up, but I also think there's a lot of hope and people can do right by landscapes and that actually does right by us in the end. So what I hope for Pippa is that she gets to experience just as many cool rivers as I do, and probably more, with a fly rod in her hand.
Let's figure out exactly how to keep places like Silver Creek exactly the same as they've always been for a long time to come. There, right there, eat it. That's money. Told you.